Hello, and welcome to episode 24 of Not for Thought, a podcast channel designed for psychonauts and psychonautics. Today, I don't really have much of a direction, to be honest. I got some things to talk about um, when it comes to festivals, and I don't know. It's going to be kind of a random episode. I don't even know what the fuck I'm gonna title it. It might be another random things podcast, but I'm gonna try and keep it a little bit more psychonaut oriented than I did the last time when I just talked about random things. But anyways, thanks for joining in. Um, yeah, it's about 1 p.m. my time, and I don't know, man. I'm just wanting to hop on and make a podcast, but yeah. The first thing I thought I would talk about is I was growing shrooms, right? I talked about it in the past few podcasts. I was growing shrooms, and I have a specific way of doing it. But if you've ever grown shrooms, you know that there's always this chance that you'll contaminate what you grow. You'll basically I don't know, there's probably a specific statistic like 50-50 chance, but in my experience it has been about 50-50 in the way that I do it. um, Half the time I've gotten shrooms, half the time the bags of the way that I do it has gotten contaminated, and that shit sucks. It's so disappointing. I was talking about how I had one growing, and uh, without going too far into detail, because I'm guessing there's some people that don't know how to grow shrooms or haven't in the past, and it's kind of a lot. But without going too much into detail, basically, it doesn't grow like a plant. Like, you don't plant seeds. You use spores, and you have to have an extremely sterile environment when you basically plant the spores into the grain or whatever method you're using. And anyways, mine was growing fine. It was already inoculated, and the grain was colonizing. So basically, it was looking good. It was growing, and then out of nowhere, I looked on the bottom, and there was this green spot just popped up out of nowhere after like probably 2 weeks, maybe like a week and a half of good growing. Out of nowhere, the bag gets contaminated. Uh, the batch gets contaminated. I grow in these bags. I think I'm gonna make a podcast one day about how I actually grow shrooms, but for today, I thought I would just talk about my failed attempt. It sucks, man. The first time that I ever did my method that I did, it worked out pretty well. I ended up with like, I don't know, probably around 15 to 20 grams of shrooms. And then the second time that I did it, my batch got contaminated. But I knew that it was going to. Like, when I inoculated it, I had done it in a bathroom, but which wasn't unusual. It's kind of the only option that I have. It's really not what you should use, but to basically plant the spores in like kind of the most minimal way of explaining it, I would clean my bathroom to like do the process of planting them, quote unquote. And anyways, so yeah, I knew that when I did it the second time, like right at the start of it, I knew the chances of it working out were pretty slim. So when it ended up contaminating, it wasn't that big of a deal, you know. And then the third time came around, which was about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago or so. I did it sometime last year. I grew some, and I ended up with a lot. I ended up with like well over an ounce of shrooms, and they were pretty potent shrooms. They were good shrooms. It was a good grow. But then this last time, the fourth time that I tried, I don't know what happened. I've never had it grow for a little bit and then become contaminated, so I'm worried that basically the soil that I was using was contaminated already. That's my theory, because I got it online, which it usually isn't too big of a deal, but I got it from like a random Amazon website, and it was probably not the way to go in the first place. But usually when they say that their grain and soil is sterilized, in my experience, they've been right. It's worked out okay for me, but this time, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there, so yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to update everybody. It looks like I'm not gonna have shrooms, and it's fucking expensive. Like I said, without going into detail about how to grow mushrooms, I need, for my method, I need about $30 for the spores, depending. And then I need another 60 for everything else. And yeah, so you're looking at about $100. You're looking at about $100 in total, which isn't too bad when you think about an ounce of shrooms. You know, you can't really put a price on psychedelics, I feel like. You know, not to mention growing them is always such a weird process, man. It always feels like a psychedelic experience just watching them grow, because like I said, they're not a plant, but they're not human or mammal or animal either, and they're a fungus, so they grow in a very different way than usual. um Not to mention they grow so fucking fast. Once they actually start to grow, yeah, you can grow shrooms pretty fucking fast, and you can usually do like a couple batches at a time. So like you grow a bunch, pluck all those off, and then more will grow, pluck all those off, and more will grow. Usually there's like 2 to 3 batches that you could do, but anyway, man, it's always a very psychedelic experience just growing them. And you feel a lot closer, or at least I feel a lot closer with my shrooms, growing them and knowing exactly where they came from, what's been done to them. It's a very comforting feeling, I guess. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's going to be coming very soon, because I keep kind of teasing at it. I keep being like, oh, I'm going to make that podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit about about how I grow mushrooms, but not actually make the podcast yet. So hopefully soon, maybe next week. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. So I was gonna take a hit of weed before it gets too late into the podcast. If you're into that, you should join me. I'm gonna rip out of my bong this time. I'm gonna take a fatty out of the bong. I usually smoke out of a pipe, if you can't tell. I usually like light near the microphone so you can hear it. And this time I'm gonna rip the bong. So, yeah, give me a sec. Yeah, man. I used to not use, well, not used to. I used to use my bong a lot. I used my bong a ton. Well, I have two at the moment. Technically three. I have a dab rig. I have one like extra sized bong. I have a smaller bong. I also have an e-rig. Oh Jesus, excuse me, sorry. Fuck. I did that right into the mic. I'm so sorry. Um yeah, and I used to have another big bong that an ex-girlfriend broke. And that sucked. So I also used to have a fucking nectar collector, this gigantic nectar collector that you can like put water into and stuff. And I set it into a chair, or I put it into a chair, and then I sat on it and completely destroyed the thing. I've also broken multiple pipes. I have two at the moment. I've broken at least three or four. Oh, way more than that. No, I've probably broken like 5 or 6 pipes, and a few of them were intentional because I wanted to like smoke the resin and stuff, you know. I'm sure some stoners out there know what I'm talking about. That was like when I couldn't afford weed. You know, that was a while ago. That wasn't anything recent. All right. Anyways, yeah, dude. I have like probably at least $500 worth of weed paraphernalia just at the moment, not even including the stuff that I've broken, given away, whatever, lost. Yeah. So, I just thought that I would bring that up. I haven't been using my bong because I wanted to take a step back from weed, and I wanted to go back to like the classic stuff, you know, like smoking out of a pipe, and I don't know, man. And I did that for a while, but I'm actually planning on. I don't want to bring this up yet because it's somewhat of a sad topic. But I don't think I'm gonna smoke after here in about a month and a half, because as I've mentioned briefly on the podcast, I'm moving back in with my family basically, and don't worry, I'm still gonna do psychedelics, but I'm gonna limit myself entirely on weed. Like, I'm not gonna smoke on a daily basis anymore. I already, to put it into perspective, um, I'm not just like a daily smoker. I smoke probably hourly, but I don't smoke too much, you know, like at once. I mean, because I do smoke way too fucking much, in my opinion. I've smoked like this for like I think 3, 4 years, 5 years now. I've been a daily smoker, and I've been like an hourly smoker. Unless I'm at work or at school, I'm high. I guarantee you. And I've enjoyed it for a long time, but I think I've said these exact words. It has like diminishing return over time. You know, there's not still the same effect that I used to get on weed. You know, obviously my tolerance has built over time like crazy, and I could just take a tolerance break, but I have things in life that I feel like I need to take care of, if that makes sense. You know, I don't know. I just don't want to be getting fucked up. Not fucked up, but I don't want to be smoking every day, every hour, every day, and really every day, period. I don't want to be smoking. I want to smoke on like the weekends or at concerts or parties, you know, and save my brain a little bit more and the rest of my body, you know. There's probably going to come a time where I'm going to say, fuck it, I'm going to go back to smoking it daily and going as hard as I can, but at least for now, I'm like I'm trying to start my life, man, and that's why I'm not necessarily trying to let go of psychedelics yet, and not entirely let go of weed either. I just want to take a massive step back from smoking. It's not really doing much for me anymore. Like, literally, I hardly even get high anymore. My high, it's nothing. It's hardly anything, you know. And you know, I could be taking it a step up and taking dabs, you know. But like I said earlier, I have a dab rig and an e-rig, so I've taken tons of dabs in the past, but I don't know, man. It just gives me so much anxiety at this point. Not all the time, but when I take dabs specifically, I feel like I just get anxious and paranoid. And it used to be a little bit of that, but I would also like laugh my ass off and have fun and be like happy to be me. But it's kind of had turned into the reverse effect over time. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents on marijuana at the moment. I'm not. I sound. Sorry, that was right in the fucking mic again. Sorry. Um, it's not like I'm against smoking, you know, and I actually want to get into the field of marijuana. I want a job in weed, basically, but not for the weed, for the money, honestly. And that's why I want to take a step back from smoking all the time, because honestly, if you look at anybody in like corporate offices that work in marijuana companies, they don't look like stoners. Probably because they're not. Because they work in corporate for a massive multi-million dollar company. I'm thinking of like a few in specific, but I'm not gonna like list them or anything. I've done a lot of research on this stuff, on getting into the weed industry, and you don't really see a whole lot of people that are like really high up on the chain smoking weed, you know, because they have a lot of responsibilities, and when you're getting high all the time, it takes away from that. It's different depending on the job. You know, like there's plenty of really high paying jobs, not just in the field of weed, but in anywhere I think you could smoke at. You know, there's plenty of very, very high paying jobs that you could easily get away with being a stoner. But that being said, I think it makes it a lot easier to be like really high on that chain when you're not somebody that's smoking all the time. I feel like, for me specifically, weed kind of hinders my goals, you know? It tends to make me lazy and paranoid and anxious, and that takes away from when I'm trying to get things done, you know? And anyways, God, like I said, I'm making weed sound so bad. I love weed, I really do, and that's why I want to get into the industry. It's not just because of money, it's also because I think it would be an amazing community to work with. I also think that it would just be, I really like plants and growing plants, so anyways, this is a lot. This is me just rambling on, like I said. But anyways, I do love weed. Why do you think I'm still smoking it, right? But I think because I've totally abused the fuck out of weed over the course of the past 5 years, and I'm about to be 22. So just put that into perspective. I know that there's other people that are like, I've been smoking since I was fucking 9 years old, you know, and then here I am like, I've been smoking since like 16. And no, actually, I think the first time I smoked weed was 15. And then I started to become a daily stoner, like probably around 17, you know? Yeah. It used to be so much fun smoking weed, but like I said, diminishing return over time, and it's reached the point where it's not that I don't just feel high. Like I'll kind of feel high sometimes, but I think it's having a way more of an effect on my body than it is on my mind at this point, if that makes sense. No, I don't know, man. I feel like it's just killing brain cells and doing bad things to my body, while I think that it's just like not really getting me high, and I don't know. I don't know, dude. I'm about to be 22, and I don't want to waste those last 3 years of my brain growing, even though scientifically I've probably already wasted them, you know, because I've inhibited growth from smoking at such a young age. I don't know. Great. The construction is beginning downstairs. We'll see if that catches on the mic. um, all right, let me move on to another topic. I don't know, man. Like I said, so actually, before I move on, really quickly, my plan with weed, like I said, is to be a daily stoner for about the next month and a half, and at the end of April, I'm gonna turn into more of like a every once in a while kind of smoker, but I'm still gonna be doing psychedelics all the fucking time. So don't you worry, psychonauts listening. I'm still gonna be doing psychedelics and bringing up those kinds of topics. This is like my first time ever actually discussing weed, I feel like. And weed is honestly, maybe that's what I'll make this podcast about, maybe. Maybe I'll come back to it later. No, I don't know. we'll see. I do have a couple other things to talk about, but I don't know. Weed's just, like I said, it doesn't really do much for me anymore, and I've definitely abused it. So I just want to take a step back and bring back the magic that it used to have for me. You know, that's why I'm saying that I don't want to just completely stop. But if it comes to that, like if I try to only smoke on the weekends and then I end up going back to being a daily stoner really quickly or something, then I might have to cut it out. But I'm pretty confident that I can go back to treating weed properly, you know, and getting actually high off of it again. Anyways, so I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk about some more festival shit. So, yeah, hopefully whoever's listening is interested in that. I discovered, I think probably, I mean, Shambhala, obviously I've talked a lot about Shambhala if you paid any attention to the podcast so far. I love Shambhala, and that's like, that's like home, right? But take Universo Paralelo, this new fucking festival that I've found, and that's like my dream vacation right there. I want to go probably, I don't know. We'll see if I'm still as obsessed with it as I am now. My plan as of now is to like go to this other festival not this year but probably the year after. Um yeah, fucking Universal Parallel. You can find a lot of videos and most of them are pretty decent quality. They had a festival this last year. So it's like a New Year's celebration festival. So it goes from the 27th to the I think the 3rd of January. It's like 8 fucking days of partying, dude. Of music festival shit. It's crazy. I can't believe it. I can't imagine partying for 8 days. Just 4 at Shambhala sounds like a lot. And I think I'm actually only going to be able to truly make it for at least 3. I don't know if I'll be able to make it there on Thursday. But anyway, yeah, Universal Parallel is so psychedelic. I don't know how to explain it. There's so many like the DJs and everything that plays there is just so trippy, dude. Like it's just a little bit more than everywhere else, except for like maybe Shambhala. Shambhala kind of hits the nail on the head there, but like when it comes to other festivals, I feel like Lost Lands is obviously like hard EDM. And I feel like there's a lot of festivals that kind of focus on the hard or the partying music, but Universal Parallel focuses on this like trippy, all the techno vibes, I guess. The like techno trippy dope vibes. I don't know. There's probably an actual genre that that is classified as, but like that's shit that I listen to, that 1200 micrograms, the fucking hallucinogen, Spangle, Simon Posford, all those dudes, they play at places like Universo Parallelo because it's so fucking psychedelic there. Like the psychedelia is just amazing. Everything is so trippy. All the stages are insane, man. And I still can't figure out how many there are. Like I'll watch a video that's one stage and then I'll watch another video that's a completely different stage that I've never fucking seen that's apparently a part of Universal Parallel. I don't know, dude, it's weird. There's so many, and yeah, you should watch a couple videos. I think I liked Vintage Culture's set at Universal Parallel, so you can find it there. I think my liked videos are public, I hope. I'll have to check in on that, but yeah, it just looks like such a psychedelic festival, dude. And all the DJs just play like trippy music, and I don't know, man. That's just a little bit different than other EDM festivals. Other EDM festivals seem to play like either a wide range of different EDM styles or like one specific one that isn't usually psychedelic, you know? I don't know, man. Anyways, yeah, so I thought that I would talk about the rave community. I think I've figured it out, man. I mean, when I first got into this, I was so excited because I felt like I found a community that was truly like just peaceful and focused towards treating each other how we should be treated, and bringing everybody together in happiness and through music. At least that was my take on it. And that is kind of the idea, but as I should have heeded my words a little bit better, and I think I already said this, but I talked about how, like, no matter what group, there's going to be some people that aren't the same as everybody else. And I mean, I don't know, dude. It just seems like the rave community is full of really, really good people, but also all the bad people as well. So, as I was watching a lot of these all these raves, I kept seeing people like putting up these hand hearts. I'm sure you've seen it if you've ever been to a rave or anything like that. Just putting up hand hearts, and it's like, it's so, I don't know why. I know that's cheesy, but it also just it's so heartwarming every time that I see it. And there's stuff like that that's, you don't see that at rap concerts. You don't see that at rock concerts, or at least I typically don't. Maybe every once in a while, but not to the extent that you do at EDM concerts and festivals. And that's awesome. But then on the other hand, there's still like I said, all the bad people, man. So I was watching Psyched Substance's videos because I'm just obsessed with Shambhala, man. So I was going back through his videos, and this one that I hadn't seen yet, where he's actually interviewing the Shambhala sex coach, and it's a pretty interesting video. You should definitely check it out. But in it, you know, I feel like I relate a lot to what Psych Substance Adam, is that his name? I don't want to fuck it up. I'm pretty sure that it's Adam, but I don't want to say the wrong name and get crucified. So that's why I keep saying Psych Substance. Anyways, fuck, I don't know what I was saying. Oh yeah, everything he kept asking her was like exactly what I kept. Well, maybe not quite at the beginning, but later on in the video, everything he keeps asking is stuff that I genuinely wanted to know the answers to. It was stuff that I would have asked as well. You should check out the video if you're curious. But at one point, he's like, you talk about. So he's talking to this sex coach who also prevents sexual harassment at festivals and at Shambhala. Anyways, Psych Substance, he's like, well, but this is Shambhala. This is the love festival. How can there be anything like that? And she's like, well, it's not as bad here, but at any festival anywhere around the world, there's going to be sexual harassment and sexual predators. And that was really disappointing to hear, that there are those sexual predators out there, even at Shambhala, at Love Festival, like he said. Like Psych Substance said, he was like, here at at the Love Festival? How can there be anything like that? And I wish I would have watched that video much sooner, because I think that gives a much needed insight into the community that you're getting yourself into if you're somebody like me. I think that just represents the dark side, I guess, so to speak, of every community. It doesn't matter, no matter where you're at. If there's men and there's women in a community, there's gonna be some bad things that are bound to happen. I guess it's just is what it is. Which is awful. I hate that. That's horrible for the women, obviously, or anybody that gets sexually harassed at all at a festival where you're supposed to be enjoying yourself and having a good time. You're not supposed to be judged, and then to have something that just completely shits on that idea is really sad. And not that I've experienced that at all, but I feel like I have somewhat of an understanding because I watched some of these videos, and I've kind of understood from going on to things like Radiate and places like that yeah, it sucks that there's creeps out there. It's not just that though. I mean, there's thieves in festivals and everything bad. All the bad people still end up at festivals. It doesn't matter. It's not festivals. It's people. you know. Anyways, so he has this other video where he's actually discussing like how to trip at a festival. Basically, I can't remember the exact name, so apologies on that. But at one point, he's talking about how he was surprised that one of the biggest issues at festivals is not necessarily drug overdoses or violence, it's actually sexual predators. And that I agreed with him. I can't believe that that is the issue at festivals, at Love Fest, at Shambhala, where people go around naked and everybody's supposed to just be themselves. And you still have people that completely fuck that vibe up. And then there's people that aren't trying to do that. And I think Adam discusses psych substance. I think he discusses that really well because he's like, in the interview, he asks, like, so for the guys that don't want to come off like a creep, how do they go about getting laid, basically? And her response is interesting because I don't know. I feel like she she basically just says to be awesome. And at first, I remember just like feeling like that was such a slap in the face. But after, I don't know, kind of letting it sink in and watching more videos and going back to the rave videos and stuff, I see the point that was being made. You know, when you're awesome, when you're a cool person and you're just happy to be yourself and you're just a well-rounded person, people are going to be drawn to you, whether that's necessarily for sexual reasons or not. Like, I think just having that mentality of I'm happy to be me, I'm happy to be at a festival, I think will draw people to you. At least that's my hope. I hope that she was right in that sense. Not necessarily just for getting laid. Like, yeah, that wouldn't be half bad. But honestly, I hadn't even really thought about anything like that. Like, the reason why I came into this community was because I was just obsessed with how awesome everybody seems to be, how much dancing there is in the community, and how there's stuff like Plur and things like that. And it's like, I don't know, some of it's been kind of disproven. Like Plur, I still am very questionable about. I'm questionable about how many people actually follow that, Anyways, because it seems like people don't really tend to, and only use that to be like, you're not following the Plur vibes, and I don't know. Anyways, be awesome though. I saw the point. When you're happy to be you and you're, say, dancing the way that you want to, I feel like people are just going to be drawn to you and be curious to know more about you. If you're just happy to be alive and you're just going crazy, I could see how people would be curious to know more about you. I see that in the Shambhala videos, like people dancing around or whatever, and like I want to talk to, I want to make friends and stuff, So, anyways, not to mention, I think, I don't know, the community is still very friendly. There's still a lot of people that are really nice, and it's not all bad, but I don't know, I think it's just important to keep in mind that even at, say, love festivals and stuff, there's still a chance of being sexual predators. Apparently a very high chance, which is, it sucks. That's horrible, and like I said, Adam Psych Substance asks, like, how do you go about not coming off as a creep? And you just be awesome. you just be awesome. But I do see that point, honestly. As vague as it kind of sounds, I do kind of understand it, Yeah. Anyways, I don't really have much more to talk about, dude. You know, don't have much to talk about. Um, like I said, lots of big changes in my life coming up here soon. But I don't think I'm gonna let go of the psychedelics, except for the fact that my fucking shrooms got contaminated. That sucks, man. And I don't know when I'm gonna be able to grow more. I almost said grab more. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to grow more. I have no idea. Because I need the money to do it, and I'm moving back home soon. I don't need to be shipping that kind of stuff to my parents' house. That would be bad. All right. So, yeah, I guess I'll cut it out here. I don't know, man. I'm still obviously looking forward to Shambhala. Oh fuck, they have a couple of lineups that have dropped. Super exciting. And yeah, so I can now listen to the Spotify playlists for the next like 4 months until the festival. So I'm nice and caught up with all the music. Yeah, dude. All right, I guess I'm gonna call it good. Thanks for listening. If you managed to stay this long, like I said in the last podcast, views are hella down. I think it's because I haven't been talking more about DMT. I get it. DMT's so fascinating, man. Don't worry though. I got some more coming. I got some more content, and yeah, subscribe. Fucking follow me on Instagram. I don't think I'm ever gonna remember to plug that at the beginning of my video. That's so dumb. It's so bad of me. Cause like I always, I don't know. I guess it doesn't really matter. All right. Have a good day if you're listening. And this has been Not for Thought.